Worcester News tonight, a member of the Worcester Police Department is helping a fallen Yarmouth police sergeant's family and department in a unique way. Plus, additional arms, armor, and metalwork from around the world will soon be on display at the Worcester Art Museum, and it's all thanks to a generous grant. Good evening, and thanks for joining us. I'm Olivia Lemon. Are the Paw Sox coming to Worcester? It's a question a lot of people seem to be asking, and according to the city and state, discussions between Worcester and the team continue, and it looks like an agreement could be made soon. Our Chandler Walsh joins us live now with the latest. Chandler?
Olivia, some involved in discussions say it's been a long negotiation. City Manager Ed Augustus says the city is now including important community partners in the conversation. Discussions about bringing the Paw Sox to Worcester are ongoing and are ramping up. A decision about the team's future could be made soon.
Hopefully, over the course of the next month or so, if not sooner, we'll have some sense of decisions.
The possible move is something Governor Charlie Baker supports.
It's certainly something that we think would be a great boon for the region if it were to happen.
Governor Baker says his administration has been very active in negotiations and discussions, but says Worcester is the one at bat.
But the city is the one who ultimately has to figure out how to make this work with the Paw Sox.
Worcester Regional Chamber of Commerce President Tim Murray says the city's continuing discussions are a sign of progress. Murray says he's been a part of Paw Sox conversations with the city manager on a regular basis. And he says the Paw Sox have also spoken to a range of community leaders.
The fact that they're here and have been so diligent in doing their research about Worcester and meeting people beyond and outside of the negotiations with the city, to me bodes well or sends a good signal.
Murray says he's confident in the city's ability to make sure the deal is a good one for Worcester. He says negotiations seem to be getting closer to a conclusion.
Have you spoke with the city today, or do you plan to today?
I'm not sure of any meetings or conversations that I have today.
Published reports say there was a scheduled meeting today about the Paw Sox, including business leaders and the city manager. Though Murray expects a decision to be made in the coming weeks, the city still hasn't said when they expect a decision to be made. Olivia?
Our Chandler Walsh reporting for us tonight. Thank you, Chandler. Tonight we are hearing from the mother of fallen Sgt Sean Gannon. Sgt Gannon was shot and killed last month in Barnstable while serving a warrant. His mother says she and her husband were on a vacation in Florida when they got the news Sean had died. She says she worried every day given her son's job, but says she's now living her worst nightmare.
When you lose someone to a murder like this happened, it changes everything. This explosion of support, we just couldn't get over.
And she says stories about her son from people who knew him have given her some solace during this difficult time. A member of the Worcester Police Department is raising money for Sgt Gannon's family and department, selling dog leashes and collars. Lynn Valois says she started making the Thin Blue Line accessories to help out in any way she could. Our Roslyn Flaherty joins us live now with more on the donations. Roslyn?
Olivia, she didn't realize how big this would become, and so far she's raised more than $8,000 for Sgt Gannon's family. Scully and Kaya show their support by wearing Thin Blue Line collars and leashes in honor of fallen Yarmouth Police Sergeant Sean Gannon.
Everybody, after a police officer dies, everybody wants to know what they can do to help. And this was the most likely thing.
Worcester Police Department's Lynn Valois has been making the collars for a few years. She decided to donate any money she made off of them to help the family of Sgt Sean Gannon, as well as the Yarmouth Police Department. Sgt Gannon was shot and killed last month. His canine Nero was also injured.
It's just taken off and we're just buried with orders.
Valois sews all of the collars and leashes by hand, which can be time-consuming, and it's getting more difficult to keep up with the demand. She's gotten some help from a couple police officers, but is also looking for help from anyone who knows how to sew.
It's getting to where, and this is only in like 2 days, that I don't know how we're going to get all these things done.
Officers Tom Hurley and Chris Cutliff created a Facebook page and website for the collars and say people from all over the world are buying them.
The outreach from the community has been, we can't even put a word on it.
It certainly makes me feel a lot better about doing my job, to know that there are just strangers all over the world really now that care about what we do.
Canine Officer Nero and a Yarmouth police detective's dog received the first orders. The Worcester officers say they are very thankful and proud Valois is taking the time to make all of them.
She's just about one of the most generous and charitable people that I've ever met.
Now, if you would like to buy a collar or help make them, you can visit their website at psk9collars.com. Rosalind Flaherty, Worcester News Tonight.
We are learning new details about accusations against a special education teacher. That teacher faced a judge today accused of inappropriate contact with his young students. Malcolm Johnson has the latest.
Appropriately touching 6 young girls in his Bartlett High School classroom, Michael Harpin listened as the judge read the charges against him: 6 counts of assault and battery and 1 for assault.
I'd definitely be not comfortable in class.
The special ed teacher is accused of making the juveniles feel uncomfortable with unwanted touching.
It's not right at all, but more and more of it's coming out.
He also allegedly looked at them inappropriately and made provocative comments about the girls' clothing.
I wouldn't be okay with it. Happy I don't have a daughter.
In a statement issued to parents, Webster's superintendent says, in part, "I want to assure you that our student safety is our #1 priority, as well as maintaining a high level of education by placing a highly qualified substitute in the classroom." Neighbors of Bartlett say they're surprised to hear of the incidents that allegedly took place between September 2017 and January of this year.
Unbelievable, but it's happened before. I mean, unfortunately, that's the time of day it is now.
Harpin is on paid administrative leave. He's scheduled to return back to the courtroom on June 19th. Reporting in Dudley, I'm Malcolm Johnson, Worcester News Tonight.
Now to an update on a story we brought you Monday. The 29-year-old arrested on an outstanding warrant after trying to break into cars and trespassing on property is now facing multiple charges. Worcester police say 29-year-old Zachary Bailey cut through this property on 2nd Street early Sunday morning. The homeowner grabbed his gun and came out to confront him. Police say a fight broke out and the homeowner fired 5 shots and hit Bailey twice. Bailey is now charged with attempting to commit a crime, assault and battery, and trespassing. The investigation is ongoing. Another update tonight in Leicester. The shoplifter who attempted to circumvent a security device at a local retailer by covering it with Playdoh has been identified. According to police, 55-year-old Dennis Jackson not only left the Playdoh behind, but also his fingerprint. He's charged with multiple counts of unlawful removal of a theft detection device. Jackson is currently residing at the Worcester County House of Corrections and is wanted in at least 2 other states. Governor Charlie Baker in Worcester Tuesday discussing economic successes his administration has played a part in across the state. Hundreds were at the DCU Center for the Economic Development Summit. Baker discussed an approved economic development bill and another in the legislature. Secretary of Housing and Economic Development Jay Ash says the main goal of the summit is for communities to share their best practices and what's worked for them.
Hear what they're doing and then try to replicate that elsewhere. And the idea here is to get more people talking to each other about what they're doing, what they're seeing, what they hope for, and hopefully be able to learn lessons from each other.
Governor Baker also announcing today another round of community grants for infrastructure development. A new permanent display at the Worcester Art Museum will feature items from the old Higgins Armory in Worcester. The collection includes pieces from around the world dating back to 2000 BC, and the museum says they are happy to have them on display here in the city. Our Brittany Schaefer joins us live now with more. Brittany?
Olivia, the museum was awarded a $40,000 grant last week. The curator of medieval art says it's a vital first step in planning the new display.
You can imagine the kind of impact that it takes to take that kind of a divot out of hardened steel.
Thousands of pieces from the Higgins Armory collection will have a permanent home.
This is going to be a multi-million-dollar project, but this is sort of the seed money that gets the whole thing rolling.
A new display at the Worcester Art Museum is being helped by a $40,000 grant from the National Endowment of the Humanities.
This is an extremely competitive grant. Only about 12 12% of applications are successful.
WHAM acquired some of the Higgins Armory collection in 2014. The museum says medieval time objects are always a popular exhibition.
So many of our visitors come here because they have fond memories of the museum and of Arms and Armor, and so this is going to be preserving not only a historical treasure, but really a Worcester treasure.
Jeffrey Forgang was the former curator at Higgins Armory, which closed in 2013. He is now the curator of Arms and Armor and Medieval Art at WHAM. Forgang says the art museum will have the second largest collection of its kind in the nation.
There's only just a handful of museums in the country that have any kind of significant arms and armor. People remember just how much fun the Higgins was, and I'm so glad to have been part of the process that preserved this collection for Worcester.
Forgang says sifting through the thousands of pieces will be timely. He hopes the exhibit will open in 2023. Brittany Schaefer, Worcester News Tonight.